Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Hey, villain. Ever played Skin the Cat?
She'll be mine!
Villains. The reason our heroes have to change, the conflict for them to overcome, every film has to have one, or at least the equivalent. To me, every antagonist has to have their own journey, goal, aim. That's what makes them such well-rounded and believable characters. Even though there are so many amazing quality villains outside animation, I personally love Disney's antagonists the most. That may be because I grew up with them, but hey, it gives me an excuse to do a top 10 darkest Disney villains list. So hey guys, and welcome to TC Does Lists, this time Disney villains, specifically darkest Disney villains. When I say this, I mean characteristically dark, not aesthetically. Oh, and this is just a Disney one. I'm not including Pixar in this, I'm afraid. So this is all my own opinion, so feel free to agree, disagree, or whatever you want. Let's get started. Number 10, Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective. Come on, this may be an underrated Disney film, but Ratigan is darker than you think. He kidnaps a child, kidnaps her father as well, forces him to create a weird animatronic queen thing. I'm not completely sure what that was meant to be honest. And I'm sure he tortures other animals as well. I mean, look at Fidge's peg leg. That's gotta be because of torture in some way. And let's not forget how he makes a speech specifically about the young, the old, and the sick as vermin, and that they should be dealt with. That actually sounds a lot like our government right now. Yeah, very dark character in a very underrated film. Number 9, Hans, Frozen. Yeah, I know, Frozen is a very overrated film. But Hans is actually a pretty good villain. He hides his true self and intentions and tricks the audience into thinking he's one of the good guys. Well, he is until his gloves come off. Literally. He helps the townspeople and takes good charge when Elsa freezes Arendelle. But what makes him so downright evil is the fact he's using Anna's love and affection for his own gain. He doesn't care about anyone, or yeah, anyone to be honest with you. I guess living with 12 older brothers though and being like, what, 13th in line to the throne at least? Yeah, that's bound to do things to you if you want to rule. Number 8, Prince John from Robin Hood. I hear you all, Prince John is probably the weakest villain, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not dark. He's mentally fragile, constantly in the shadow of his older brother, King Richard, and I think that's what makes him such a dangerous character. He has enough power to raise the taxes on the already struggling citizens of Nottingham, all because they made a silly song about him. Bratty or what? But that's what he is, a child brat in power. Playground issue, blow it up several times and you have Prince John. Not so weak now, right? Number 7, Lady Tremaine from Cinderella. It's always the parents, isn't it? Well, not always, but you know what I mean. Lady Tremaine in both versions of Cinderella are darker than I remember when I was younger. She basically locks Cinderella up and forces her into working around the house, with hardly any sleep as well. She favours her own children, which is sadly an issue that can reflect in today's society in very rare cases, and basically just shoves Cinders into a corner. How? Because Cinders doesn't have anywhere else to go. No friends other than the animals around her. She doesn't have any other support system. That's incredibly crippling. It's no wonder she never speaks out for herself. Even when there's that tiny little spark of hope for Cinderella to escape, her stepmother physically locks her away. She's trapped physically and mentally, all by her. Number 6, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. I'm going with the original film for Maleficent here, Sleeping Beauty version, not the newer film. I personally count that film as separate from the franchise, but that's a different discussion that I'll probably come to later at date. I class her as one dark villain due to the fact that she holds such a flipping good grudge over something as little as, well, not being invited to a party. What? It's true. She curses an innocent child to be overshadowed by death until her 16th birthday? Kinda harsh. I mean, I can understand being shunned from society, I get it. But it's not an excuse to do what she did, even if she has some incredibly stupid henchmen. Number 5, Scar from The Lion King. The second child issue. First child is the angel, the good one, heir to everything, gets the most attention from mummy and daddy. It happens, but Scar takes this to a whole new level of jealousy. He wants to rule, Problem is, his brother and his brother's son are in the way. So his logic is, let's kill them. He even victim blames poor Simba into thinking he killed his own father. How emotionally manipulative is that? Worse still, when he becomes king, he just destroys the circle of life, over-harvesting, so to speak, gorging on everything around him until there's nothing left, and refusing to move. Not only does that endanger the lives of his pride, but himself. Yeah, he's a little bit stupider than I remember. Number 4, Medusa from The Rescuers. Kidnapping an orphan is bad enough as it is, but forcing her to do child labour, extremely dangerous child labour, that pushes it to the whole new level. Medusa doesn't only just force poor Penny down a hole and makes her face the aspect of drowning every time she does so, she also takes jabs at her self-esteem and hope of finding adoptive parents. She acts all nicey nice, but that last line of, "What makes you think anyone would want a homely little girl like you?" really stings. Not just Penny, but me as an audience member. She has no feelings towards Penny at all, and that line sums it up perfectly. Number 3, Mother Gothel from Rapunzel. I think Mother Gothel is the next step up from Medusa. Kidnaps child, holds her hostage, and is incredibly emotionally manipulative. She also makes Rapunzel feel like she's the one in the wrong, not herself. Words can hurt so much, and that's how Mother Gothel controls Rapunzel. 18 years of manipulating her to be scared of the outside and feel like Mother knows best. That's pretty bad, and I know for a fact there are parents out there who would do this. That's what makes this villain so dark. She doesn't use force, she just uses words to induce fear, and repeating this every day for 18 years. I'm surprised Rapunzel isn't crazy, to be honest. Number 2, Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Everyone loves him. No, I know not Belle, but society loves him. He's stupid, arrogant, and extremely misogynist. And yet everyone in the village adores him, idolises him. Like, what the hell? If he doesn't get what he wants, like Belle marrying him, for example, what does he do? Throws a hissy fit and tries to get her father locked up in an insane asylum for a trade for marriage. Going to refer to real life again, as I always tend to do. We do this as a society. We idolise the stupid and get weirded out by the clever. Gaston is a prime example of that. After everything that he's done, he makes up lies about someone he's never even met, causing hysteria in his favour. Manipulation yet again, but this is on a much larger scale. Scary, isn't it? Before I tell you my number 1 darkest Disney villain, I think it's a good point to put in a few honourable mentions here.
15 puppies! How marvellous, how marvellous, how perfectly!
Why am I not surprised?
If you won't bow before a sultan, then you will cower before a sorcerer! Genie, my second wish. I wish to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world!
The heart of a pig, the blundering fool. I'll go myself to the dwarf's cottage in a disguise so complete no one will ever suspect.
Oh, they're here! The fates are here and you didn't tell me! We are worms! Worthless worms!
Memo to me, maim you after my meals.
Think you're pretty smart, don't you? Huh? Who outsmarted who? Who outsmarted who? Huh? I still gotta get that boy.
And finally, at number 1, we have Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I know if people have watched my older video of the analysis I did on Frollo, I bet you already knew who I was going to pick. Yeah, Frollo to me is the darkest villain there is. He's a murderer, he abuses his power with hints of rape, case of child abuse and manipulation. The list goes on, to be honest. And this guy is already in power. I guess I'm just repeating what I said in my previous video, but it's all what makes him the darkest. That and that he firmly believes that he is a good and religious man whose soul will be welcomed into heaven with open arms. Yeah, good luck with that, Frollo. Well, that finishes up this list, but like I said, this is my own personal opinion. What about you guys? Do you agree? Disagree? Did I miss any of your favourites? Comment below. I've been TC, I'll see y'all next time, and that's a wrap. I better go and practice my evil laugh now. And buy a cape with a fake moustache. Yeah, that really needs work.